A new report grading infrastructures has been released by the American Society of Civil Engineers. Scripps News Group Joe St. George breaks down why so many things have been rated poorly right here in the Lone Star State. Plus,
in February, the city of Taft met with representatives from a refinery company in executive session. I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam, sitting down with neighbors who are concerned about what was discussed behind closed doors. Coming up.
And we're taking a live look right now from our SPID Skycam. Traffic looks to be flowing pretty smoothly this morning right now. Of course, we will have meteorologist Julia Quady with a look at your real-time traffic and your forecast this Tuesday. Folks, it is April 25th. Your Chris 6 Sunrise starts now. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Chris 6 News Sunrise, and thank you so much for starting your day with us. I'm Michelle Hoffman. Brian Hoffman is off. Steph will be in here later, so we do have meteorologist Julia Quady in with us once again this morning. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning, Michelle.
Well, thank you so much, as always, for filling in for Steph. We really enjoy having you here this morning.
I'm happy to be here always.
Well, how's traffic looking right now?
Traffic's looking good throughout most of our roadways, but I do have one thing that I have to bring to you guys' attention, and that's that dense fog that's once again building for us this morning, causing a really bit of a sticky situation throughout our inland neighborhoods at this hour. So Ingleside, Corpus Christi, Robstown, Kingsville, as well as Falfurrias, all you guys looking at less than a mile of visibility heading out the door at this hour. Beeville starting to see a little bit of improvement now, increasing above a little over a mile of visibility right now, but no matter how you slice and dice, it's still not pristine, perfect driving conditions heading out the door for inland neighborhoods. So we do have a dense and fog advisory currently in place for those inland counties in the coastal bend until 9 o'clock. That's when we start to expect some of more of that dense fog to begin to dissipate, allowing for more of clear visibility over the next few hours. But right now, heading out the door, just make sure you're taking care of yourself and driving safely, because right now driving conditions are going to be a bit sticky, and that's just because of our dew point values and where they're sitting right now. They're still matching pretty closely to where our air temperatures are sitting. But again, I said this yesterday, it's going to solve a positive purpose for us with our rain chances coming in later in the week, and I have details on that coming up.
Alrighty, Julia, thank you so much. We'll check in with you in just a bit, but first we head to Washington, where the American Society of Civil Engineers has released their 2025 report card for America's infrastructure. The overall grade for the United States is a C. Scripps News Group Deputy Political Director Joe St. George joins us live now this morning. Good morning, Joe. So when looking at the report, most of the grades for infrastructures around the state of Texas range in C's and D's. So why are so many things rated poorly, even though major infrastructure legislation has passed in recent years?
Right, let's start a big picture and talk about some of those questions there. The grades are in by the American Society of Civil Engineers. They do this each and every year. It's a way that we can evaluate where we are as a country when it comes to the infrastructure that we use each and every day. I'm just going to rattle off a few of them. Aviation, they give the country a D+. Bridges, a C. Broadband, C+. Energy, D+. Roads, D+. Rail, B-. I guess not bad. Transit, D. Schools, D+. Quite frankly, if I brought those schools home to my mom, those grades home to my mom or dad, not exactly. I don't think I'd get rewarded with a treat at the local restaurant. Overall, the grade's a C. But believe it or not, that's actually an improvement from where we were last year at this time when a C- was given. The infrastructure law that was passed during the Biden administration is slowly, the American Society of Civil Engineers says, making some improvements, but they said that the reason that it is so low, that we're still being graded at a C, is that a lot of what was promised and funded in the bipartisan infrastructure law from many years ago hasn't been built yet. It's still in planning stages or still in the initial building stages. So that's why these grades are being rated at this point. The report says the country is particularly vulnerable to climate change, something that Corpus Christi, Texas officials certainly has talked about in the past. Officials with the American Society for Civil Engineers believes even more sustainable funding needs to be on the horizon in order to truly get the grades up if you will, from a C maybe into the B or eventually the A category. So report card out today from the American Society of Civil Engineers. Overall grade, again, a C.
Well, good to know, Joe. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. So waking up for us today, we're dealing with more of that dense fog impacting parts of the coastal bend, so much so that we have a dense fog advisory that is currently in place right now at this hour. More details on that, just a few more moments. Right now, let's go and take a look at our conditions across parts of the coastal bend and maybe in your neighborhood. Here in Corpus Christi, waking up to a temperature of 56 degrees. Over in Beeville, sitting at 60 degrees. Port Aransas waking up to a temperature of 67. Rockport sitting at 63, 62 in Kingsville, and 67 over in the Bluff. Having overall calm winds coming in from the southeast. Now, that's nice for us because we don't have to deal with a harsh breeze, but it's not causing a positive effect in terms of not really helping us out, clear out that fog that's currently impacting parts of the coastal bend. So much so in areas like here in Corpus Christi, Beeville, and over in Kingsville, mostly inland neighborhoods dealing with the brunt of that dense fog, causing a big dip in our current visibility. So we do have a dense fog advisory currently in place for inland counties in the coastal bend. So B, San Patricio, New Essex, and Claiborne counties on out west, all dealing with that very dense fog that's causing around less than a mile of visibility right now. So that's going to continue to be in place until 9 o'clock this morning. So just make sure you're being careful and cautious as you head out the door. Over the next few hours, though, we will expect some improvement coming in shortly, especially as that dense fog advisory will expire around 9 o'clock. So by the time we're heading towards midday and definitely by this afternoon, all of us will be looking at much better visibility at that point as we'll start to see that cloud cover, that fog dissipate, allowing for more sunshine. That's also going to increase our temperatures over the next few hours too. By 10 o'clock, we'll be looking at our temperatures mostly just breaking towards the lower 70s. Still have that cloud cover currently in place, so still be looking at mostly cloudy skies, kind of similar to how we started our day yesterday morning. And then by the time we get towards this afternoon, a little bit after lunchtime, looking at warmer temperatures, starting to see some breaks of that cloud cover, allowing for that sunshine too, increasing our temperatures at that point towards the lower 80s and eventually the upper 80s to maybe low 90s throughout some neighborhoods for our afternoon high temperatures. Here in Corpus Christi, though, we're looking at an afternoon high temperature around 85 to 86 degrees later on this afternoon. And that moisture and humidity, that's what's going to add towards why things are going to be feeling a bit muggy and a bit sticky for us, not only today, but for the next extended period of time for us this week, even heading towards this upcoming weekend, going up to that very humid zone. But it's going to be that moisture and humidity combined with that upper level disturbance that's going to push its way to the coastal bend beginning tomorrow. That's going to increase our rain chances coming up, really anticipating that Thursday will be our wettest day of the week, but then we'll still have pretty considerable showers still happening in the forecast, even as we look ahead towards your Friday. And even so, we're looking at our rainfall estimates even increasing from yesterday. Yesterday, looking at our range being anywhere between maybe 1 inch to 2 inches. Now we're looking at increasing, maybe going anywhere around 3 to maybe even 5 inches of potential rainfall totals after this rainfall event. So we're, of course, very eager for it because we're still dealing with drought-like conditions currently in place here in the coastal bend. Looking at your 7-day forecast, things will be dry and sunny by this afternoon. Then we'll need that umbrella beginning tomorrow throughout the rest of your work week.
Julia, thank you so much. The levels at Choke Canyon Reservoir are low. Coming up on Sunrise, senior neighborhood news reporter Suzanne Stevens spoke with neighbors who are relying on faith for a drop of rain. Welcome back, folks. 6:11 this Tuesday morning. We're getting our first live look from our Manny-Cam. Looking beautiful. He's looking at the sky, at the moon, over on the marina. Pretty awesome view. Thank you so much, Manny. This is one of my favorite parts of the day. So it's 63 degrees outside for him right now. Of course, we will check in with meteorologist Julia Quady to see how the rest of the day is looking as far as our weather forecast. But first, we have some neighborhood news.
Choke Canyon Reservoir is low and the stakes are high. I'm senior neighborhood news reporter Suzanne Stevens. While some are looking to the skies and praying for rain, others say it will take an act of God to restore what's been lost. The Choke Canyon Reservoir at Three Rivers is no stranger to dry spells, but this time it's different and much more severe. After months of drought, the water level is far below where it should be.
This ramp is normally floating when the lake is up. We've actually run out of cable to be able to lower it down to the water. You can see it's now sitting on the bank. When I started out here 3.5 years ago, the water was right at the bottom of these rocks here on the rock jetty here.
I've never seen this lake this low before.
Recreational fisherman Eugene Wilson has been fishing at Choke Canyon for 40 years. He's doubtful rain will make much of a difference.
See, the bad thing about it, that little bit of rain, you got lakes above this lake to fill up first. That's the bad thing, and this lake's going to be down the line. I don't know. I hope and pray it makes a difference, but I don't think it will.
We've had months, years of dry weather. It's going to take months to recover. So while one thunderstorm complex, it's favorable, it will produce some local short-term relief. We really need long-term pattern changes.
For ranchers like Cooper Hughes, any rain is welcome, but it's not entirely in nature's hands.
There's a water crisis coming up, and if the good Lord let it rain, that'd be great.
As the community waits for relief, faith has become just as vital as the weather. Outside Sacred Heart Catholic Church, a sign reads, "Prayers are in season." The parish priest, who didn't want to go on camera, told me it's a time for people to reflect and repent. So will this rain be the long-awaited relief this community has prayed for, or just a drop in the bucket? Either way, residents of Three Rivers will be looking to the skies, and yes, some sending up prayers. At Choke Canyon Reservoir, I'm Senior Neighborhood News reporter Suzanne Stevens, KRIS 6 News.
Hey there, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Waking up for us today. Things are going to be once again starting off on a bit of a foggy note, especially for inland parts of the coastal bend. We are looking at a dense fog advisory currently being in place, and as you can see behind me, that visibility is going to be an issue for some folks heading out the door. We're looking at Beeville, heading over towards Ingleside, Corpus Christi, Robstown, Kingsville, as well as Falfurrias, having less than a mile visibility right now at this hour. This is what's triggering this dense fog advisory to currently be in place. Now, even in Rockport, you guys are starting to begin to see a dip in your visibility now to less than a mile at this point too. So you want to make sure heading out the door you're being extra careful, giving yourself some extra time on those roadways to start off your day. That dense fog advisory will be in place for all inland counties and portions of the coastal bend until 9 o'clock this morning. So things will be expected to improve over the next few hours, especially by midday, when all that fog will start to dissipate. Right now we're looking at cloudy skies too, which isn't helping in that fashion either, but similar to yesterday, cloudy start, but then we'll start to see that sunshine break on through later on towards the afternoon. With our temperatures, things are a little bit cooler for us, but still it's not going to quite feel like it because of that mugginess and humidity currently at play. So here in Corpus Christi, sitting at 56 degrees, 62 over in Robstown and Kingsville, and 63 degrees over in Mathis. So again, a bit of a cool start, a little bit temperature-wise, but your body quite won't feel it just because of that moisture and humidity that is currently in place. Looking at our planner, we'll see things will begin to clear out on the sense of that dense fog as well as that cloud cover in our skies by the time we reach this afternoon. Looking at mostly sunny conditions. That fog, of course, will no longer be in place by that point either. We'll also see an increase in our temperatures, then reaching towards the lower 80s to upper 80s by the time we get towards that range of 2 and 4 o'clock. We do have a forecast high temperature of around 86 degrees here in Corpus Christi. So that moisture and humidity, that's also going to contribute to those warmer temperatures that we're going to experience later on today as well. But like I said yesterday, this is all going to tie towards a very positive purpose for us, giving us that moisture and humidity as well as that help from coming in of that upper level disturbance. We'll see an increase in our rain chances beginning Wednesday, continuing towards the end of your work week on Friday. Thursday most likely being our wettest day of this work week. That's all going to come in with our rainfall estimates going anywhere between 3, maybe even up to 5 inches of potential rainfall in the forecast from this rain event. Now, this is good. We definitely need rainfall in the forecast, but when it falls kind of that fast and quickly in a short time frame, it does increase our flood risk. So looking ahead towards tomorrow on your Wednesday, we will be under a level 1 out of 4 for a marginal risk of flood danger. And then looking ahead on your Thursday, going to be our wettest day from this rain event. We'll be looking at an increase towards a slight risk in the forecast at that point. So again, while that rain is necessary, just make sure we're being on the careful side, erring on caution, especially with these rain chances happening very quickly for us beginning tomorrow on your Wednesday.
All right, Julia, thanks for the heads up. A multi-million-dollar deal to rename the American Bank Center is sparking controversy among city leaders. Coming up on Sunrise, why some neighbors believe they were misled. Welcome back, folks. A major deal to rename the American Bank Center is sparking controversy with city leaders. Concerns were expressed during last Tuesday's City Council meeting by District 3 Councilman Eric Cantu as he addressed American Bank Center General Manager Danny Melise. Cantu claims the managing company of the venue, OVG 360, misled the public about their status of their negotiations. The company has considered Thomas J. Henry a potential partner, but told council they did not initially reach out to him. While neighborhood news reporter Alexis Scott spoke with Thomas J. Henry, and Henry confirmed he did receive an initial contract from OVG 360. His proposal included an offer of $1.25 million a year, which is a significant jump from the current American Bank Center agreement. Cantu pushed back against speculation that some residents might oppose the city partnering with a high-profile attorney.
Thomas J. Henry got into the stick because of politics. Maybe people don't like him. But you know, personally, Thomas J. Henry has done a lot for this community.
Now, OVG 360 sent this statement to our newsroom. They also tell Chris 6 they still have several months before making a final decision on naming rights for the American Bank Center. And we have the entire interview with Thomas J. Henry on our website. Just look for Alexa's story on christv.com.
And now taking it outside, looking at our First Community Bank Sky Cam over atop the USS Lexington. We can see things are looking pretty good heading on the Harbor Bridge in both directions there with no issues and traffic concerns right now this morning. Now heading on over towards our view from our SPID Sky Cam. We can see things are moving pretty well. Starting to get a little bit more busy heading in both directions there on SPID, so just expecting to be moving in a good direction, but just maybe starting to greet a little bit more of your neighbors heading out in the roads as everyone starts to get their day started. Let's go and take a look now. Another thing we need to take note of, we got some fog starting to build throughout parts of the coastal bend, particularly our inland neighborhoods. So areas around Beeville, Robstown, Corpus Christi, Kingsville, even down south of Falfurrias, dealing with that dense fog that is currently in place right now at this hour. So just make sure you're being extra cautious on those roadways this morning and taking your time, because we do have that dense fog advisory that will be in place until 9 o'clock this morning. More details in the forecast coming up after the break.
DOGE cuts are hitting the IRS, and it is changing consumer behavior. I'm Dan Grossman, and coming up, we'll tell you how it has some people considering not filing their taxes this year.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Good morning and welcome on back. We're taking a view now from our Manny Cam where he is on Shoreline Boulevard, and things are looking pretty clear. We're looking at a little bit some passing clouds in our skies right now. Things are humid, a bit muggy. Temperatures are sitting around in towards the 50s and the 60s depending on where you are in the area. But definitely want to make sure you're taking your time on those roadways, especially if you are in those inland neighborhoods, as we are dealing with some dense fog currently impacting some areas right now, causing a dense fog advisory to currently be in place. It's not going to expire until around 9 o'clock this morning. So again, just really want to make sure you're taking your time on those roadways, especially for inland portion of the coastal bend at this hour. Now, looking ahead, we will be expecting to see some improvement on the front of that fog that is currently in place. By the time you start to reach a little bit closer towards lunchtime, midday, even a little bit before lunchtime, quite frankly, things will be improving greatly with terms of our dense fog starting to clear up, allowing for more clear visibility to start making its way in towards the area. Now, as it relates towards our temperatures, things are going to be technically on the cooler side compared to yesterday, but you're not going to necessarily feel it just on the front of that moisture and humidity that's currently in place. So here in Corpus Christi, waking up to a temperature of 56 degrees, 61 over in Robstown, 62 in Kingsville, 63 right now in Mathis, and 59 degrees, a little bit cooler over in Beeville right now. So again, things are going to be on a decent note on our temperatures right now, looking at cloudy conditions that will persist a little bit throughout the majority of our morning hours, very similar to yesterday, but then those clouds will begin to break apart a little bit after midday, and that's going to, of course, allow for more sunshine to come on through, then increasing our temperatures up towards the lower 80s around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Then by the time we hit that range around 2, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, those are usually our hottest hours of the day. That's we'll see some more hiking in our temperatures later on this afternoon, increasing towards the lower 90s for inland portions of the coastal bend, a little bit closer towards the coast. Temperatures reaching primarily towards the mid to upper 80s. So again, yet another warm, muggy day for us in store in the coastal bend. We'll be looking at that mugginess continuing throughout the rest of our work week, even increasing by this upcoming weekend. But that moisture and humidity combined with this upper level system that's going to push its way towards the coastal bend beginning tomorrow, that's what's going to give us these very promising rain chances that look to be ever increasing, even as we look ahead towards today compared to yesterday. Things are on the up as we can expect for pretty decent beneficial rainfall in the forecast beginning tomorrow on your Wednesday, a little bit after the afternoon hours, then continuing on to your Thursday and then onto your Friday. So pretty much 3 days in a row, we'll definitely need to keep that umbrella on hand, as we'll be expecting rainfall estimates now increasing since yesterday. Yesterday we were looking at a range anywhere between 1 to 2 inches. Now looking at a considerably increased amount, anywhere between 3 to 5 inches, I should say, of rainfall across parts of the coastal bend from this rainfall event they'll be expecting. Now, while it is necessary, it is causing a bit of a dicey situation in terms of our flood risk, as that's going to also increase for us beginning towards tomorrow, looking ahead towards a marginal, so a level 1 out of 4 for flood risk coming into the forecast for that rain event just beginning tomorrow, then increasing on our wettest day of this week. Thursday, that's what we'll be seeing a bit of a slight risk then being in place throughout majority of South Texas and the coastal bend. So again, we still need to be mindful, just be careful from any ponding that may occur from all these rainfall accumulations that we'll start to experience later on this week. So we definitely want to keep that umbrella on hand from these scattered showers and thunderstorms.
The survey doesn't only show that people are more concerned about the status of their return, but that it's fueling risky behaviors, with some people considering not filing their taxes at all. Disclaimer: this information is not an invitation to subvert the IRS and engage in illegal behavior. Now that I've covered my rear end, let's get into it.
You definitely don't want to mess with the IRS. It's not shocking that this kind of compounding set of stressors and anxieties is leading to some of that avoidant behavior.
Courtney Lev is a consumer financial advocate with Credit Karma. The company released this survey showing because of DOGE cuts, 24% of Americans are less concerned about making a mistake on their tax return this year. 46% are worried they'll even get their refund, and 17% of millennials saying they might not file their return at all because they think there's a lesser chance they'll get audited. Alev says that last option shouldn't even be a consideration.
You're going to potentially face penalties for failing to file, failing to pay your bill if you owe a tax balance this year. In addition to any penalties, if you do owe a balance, the IRS will also charge you interest on any tax that you don't pay.
The latest IRS data shows compared to this time last year, there have been just under 2% fewer returns and nearly 1.5% fewer processed returns. It's the largest decrease in the number of returns since March 18th of 2022, when IRS data shows it saw a 5.1% dip from the previous year. In a call with Scripps News, an IRS spokesperson did not give a reason for the decrease. Still, according to Alev, it's always better to be safe than sorry.
There's really no outrunning the IRS, and the first thing you want to do is understand the options available to you, like a repayment plan, versus getting yourself into the situation where you might be in the place where you need to deal with garnishment.
Dan Grossman, Scripps News Group, Denver.
This is Veterans in Focus, sponsored by the Heil Law Firm, battling for justice, winning for the community.
So every month we are continuing to share the stories of wounded heroes from our neighborhoods ahead of the opening of a new Purple Heart exhibit. As I've told you before, Military Order of the Purple Heart Chapter 598, in partnership with the Corpus Christi Museum of Science and History, is working to open an exhibit to feature local Purple Heart recipients. All Purple Heart veterans from the Coastal Bend are encouraged to participate, and that's why I went to Alice to speak with Marine Corps veteran Henry Fletcher. He recently added his name to the list of Purple Heart veterans who want to be featured on the exhibit. How did you hear about the exhibit?
I seen y'all on TV. I seen you talking to the veterans that you had interviews with, and I know what they're talking about. And this is an honor for the veterans.
Folks, if you want to learn more about the exhibit, you can go to our website, christv.com, and make sure you join us tonight for this week's Veterans in Focus. We'll share Fletcher's story and show you how he earned 3 Purple Hearts. That's tonight at 6 o'clock.
All right, now taking it outside, looking at our CCC Skycam over Snoopy's Pier. You can see it's beginning to get a little bit more busy with some folks heading to and from the island on the JFK Causeway. Looking at clear traffic flow though, so no issues on that bridge at the moment. Let's go ahead and move on over towards our actually no, we're going to come to me looking at our current visibility where we can see what we can expect in terms of visibility now decreasing throughout portions of coastal Bend, particularly areas that are more further inland. But now that fog is beginning to expand to some of our areas along the coast as well. So Rockport now starting to see a dip in your visibility around 6 miles, 1.5 miles over in your visibility for Ingleside, but majority of neighborhoods looking at less than a mile for your visibility right now. So no matter how you slice it and dice it, just a little bit tricky situations right now heading out the door from that visibility now decreasing. So we do have a dense fog advisory that is currently in place and will be in place until 9 o'clock this morning. So just make sure you take that extra time to drive carefully on those roadways. More details in your forecast coming up in just a bit.
In February, the city of Taft met with representatives from a refinery company in executive session. I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam, sitting down with neighbors who are concerned about what was discussed behind closed doors coming up.
A local group is putting their best foot forward. I'm Michaela Chavez, your neighborhood news reporter on the South Side. I'll tell you about a relay race that's making its way through several cities, and it starts right here with this team.
Now, say hello to your neighbors. This is your Chris 6 News Sunrise Shoutouts.
Hello, KRIS Sunrise team. I am the mayor of Robstown. I want to wish all the neighbors across the coastal Bend out there a great morning and a great day.
Hey, good to see you, Mayor Martinez. We hope you have a great day as well. And folks, if you want to send us your shout out video, you can scan the QR code on your screen or head to our website, christv.com.
From Chris 6, this is 20 minutes of non-stop news.
And we are starting that 20 minutes of nonstop news with a live look from our Manny Cam. He's over at Sherrill Veterans Memorial Park, looking at the beautiful American flag there. Pretty good view from that angle. Thank you so much for that, Manny. Hey, it's 55 degrees outside right now. We will check in with meteorologist Julia Quady in just a bit to see how our forecast is shaping up for today. But first, we have news from Taft.
Tensions in Taft are rising as a potential refinery project is raising red flags. City officials and residents are asking the tough questions about a deal they say has been shrouded in secrecy. I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam, and here is our full investigation.
The selection endorsement of Ryan Smith. I don't even know what that has to do with anything.
This was the moment 6 Investigates provided Police Chief John Landreth with emails between the city of Taft and DRL refineries. Part of Landreth's surprise was not just the fact it was his first time seeing the emails, but the contents within them pertained to him.
They would have to explain to me how that is part of this agreement.
The email obtained by 6 Investigates is between DRL representatives and the Taft City Council, following their February 4th meeting held in executive session.
What do I have to do with the refinery setting up and doing business in San Patricio County?
The email discusses a potential deal between the city and DRL, one that would offer the city $3 million in what they call discretionary funding each year. But the deal comes with some stipulations, many of which centering around city manager Ryan Smith.
For a company to want to give a part-timer so much leadway and so much power it just raises a lot of questions.
The potential deal between the city would require, above many things, not only the city council giving Smith their full endorsement as project leader, but separately would require the police chief to publicly endorse Smith as well.
Outside interest coming in and is kind of, in a way, dictating what a city council should be doing.
These closed-door discussions occurred in February. Over a month later, Landreth's job was on the line.
I'm going to move to terminate the employment of John Landreth due to the above mentioned reasons.
No. I don't understand how I became such a threat or such an item of interest.
We want to humiliate you. We want you to bow down and kiss the ring. But what is the purpose of that?
It appears that the waters have been muddied, and we cannot have that appearance.
6 Investigates had many questions regarding the executive session with DRL and the legality of the discussion had behind closed doors. Our team reaching out to both the city and DRL for an interview, with both only providing statements. City Manager Ryan Smith telling 6 Investigates that the city does not make public comments on economic development opportunities and discussions. DRL only told 6 Investigates in their statement that they are working closely with the Taft City Council and City Manager. Our team, not satisfied with their response, demanded further clarification. However, DRL did not respond by the deadline for our reporting. But for neighbors like Ben Rios, the secrecy from the city does not come as a surprise.
So in reference to transparency, no, I don't believe they're transparent.
Now, the deal between the City of Taft and DRL is not set in stone. However, it's worth noting that following our initial request to the city, a special council meeting was added to Monday night, with the only item on the agenda being held in executive session. Reporting from Taft for 6 Investigates, I'm Adam Beam.
Hey, good morning. Happy Tuesday. So heading out the door, things are going to be off to a bit of a muggy start, kind of similar to yesterday, but now more of that fog has kind of gotten more dense for us, particularly throughout parts that are more inland in the coastal bend. And more details on that in just a few more moments. Right now, let's go ahead and take a look at those current temperatures and feel like temperatures across the area. Corpus Christi waking up to a temperature of 59 degrees, 60 over in Robstown, 63 in Mathis, 62 over in Ingleside, 61 in Rockport, 62 as well over in Kingsville. So all of us across the coastal bend, for the most part, looking at our temperatures waking up this morning in towards the upper 50s or towards the lower 60s right now at this moment. Those dew point values are still matching fairly closely towards where our air temperatures are currently standing, so that's going to add towards that muggy, maybe a bit of oppressive feeling throughout some neighborhoods, but that's what's definitely going to add towards that really dense fog that we're dealing with right now this morning, especially for parts that are more inland in the coastal bend. So Ingleside, Corpus Christi, Beeville, Robstown, Kingsville, as well as Falfurrias, all you guys waking up towards visibility that is less than a mile out. That's kind of extending a little bit now with that fog now reaching some parts of our coastal neighborhoods. So Rockport, you guys are beginning to see a bit of a dip in your visibility now dropping towards 6 miles. So across the coastal bend, we're looking at the majority of us being under a dense fog advisory right now at this hour that will continue to be in place until right around 9 o'clock this morning. So you just want to make sure you're taking your time on those roadways and driving safely and giving yourself extra time to get to your destination safely this morning. We will see that we'll start off a bit of on a cloudy note yet again for us this morning. So again, similar towards yesterday, we'll start to see that cloud cover and that fog begin to dissipate around the same time frame, allowing for that sunshine to start to peek on through by midday. And as we're starting to get closer towards lunchtime, we'll also see our temperatures also increase a little bit closer towards the lower to upper 80s around 4 o'clock this afternoon. So we'll be looking at, once again, our forecast high temperatures to still be towards the upper 80s, maybe the low 90s for some inland neighborhoods with that additional sunshine on deck for us this afternoon. Now that moisture and humidity, that's also going to be at play for an increase in our temperatures today. But that's also going to relate towards our rain chances that we're very excited and hopeful for as we look ahead towards tomorrow beginning and then continuing until at least Friday to end out your work week on a bit of a soggy note. Now we are looking at our rainfall estimates in terms of accumulation to be anywhere near 3 or maybe up to 5 inches of rainfall coming into the forecast. So we're looking at a pretty heavy dosage and bucket of rainfall coming in towards our area, but it does make for a little bit for concern because when you see that much rainfall happening in that such a short time period, it does increase flood risk risk in the forecast. So beginning tomorrow, we'll be under level 1 out of 4 for flood risk, and then it's going to increase there ahead going to your Thursday to a level 2 out of 4 for a slight risk being at danger for flood risk coming into the forecast. So we're just going to monitor that and be careful of that as we start to anticipate this rain event to begin the forecast tomorrow. Look at your 7-day though. We'll see things to be pretty dry and sunny for us. Once again, temperatures reaching towards the 80s this afternoon with more showers on the way tomorrow.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
In the 6 things you need to know, neighbors and their motorcycles are invited to join the escort of the Wall That Heals. As we've reported, the meetup is 10:30 this morning at the Richard Borchard Regional Fairgrounds in Robstown, with departure to Veterans Memorial High School at noon sharp. Business and homes on the escort route are being asked to fly your flags, and the Wall That Heals will be open 24 hours a day to the public at Veterans Memorial High School starting Thursday, and it will be on display until Sunday. It is free and open to the public. The Nueces County Sheriff's Department is asking for your assistance in finding property that was stolen from a storage area. The incident happened on around 1:30 a.m. on March 17th. According to the Sheriff's Department, a Bad Boy 72 zero-turn mover and various DeWalt power tools were taken from a storage located in the 700 block of North Padre Island Drive. Now, if you have any information, you're asked to call Sergeant James Rackley at 361-887-2211. A second reading for speed limit changes at 2 busy roads will be discussed at today's City Council meeting. Those 2 locations are on Weber between Saratoga and the Oso Creek Bridge, and Ennis Jocelyn between SPID and Ocean Drive. The motion will lower the Weber stretch to 40 miles per hour and the Ennis Jocelyn stretch to 35 miles per hour. City Council approved the first reading this past week, and they plan to further discuss it at today's City Council meeting. Also on the agenda for today's City Council meeting, the reconstruction of the H-E-B parking lot and resurfacing of the H-E-B Tennis Center parking located in District 2. A motion to award the contract to Brook Paving and Construction of Robstown will be discussed, and the total cost for the project will be a little more than $700,000, with the funding coming from the Community Development Block Grant. Now, the City of Corpus Christi's veterinarian has resigned just days after Animal Care Services Director Kathleen Chappa's voluntary demotion. Dr. Melissa Draper, who has been in the position for 12 years, is stepping down. And Chris 6 News reached out to the city to ask how this change will impact Animal Care Services operations. Now, the city's response: Melissa Draper has resigned from the City of Corpus Christi. The city is unable to comment further on this personnel matter. And that's it, end quote. It's been 7 months since demolition began on Sunrise Mall, and developers have now run into a small speed bump. The development company is asking the city to rezone the area to allow for the redevelopment of the land where the once sprawling mall once stood. According to sketches of the planned development, the new space will include a hotel, convention center, and a 4-story apartment building. The plans to rezone will be presented to City Council on May 13th.
All right, now heading out the door now, looking at our SPID Skycam, we can see things are moving pretty well in both directions, starting to get a little bit more busy though. You'll be encountering maybe more of your neighbors getting their day started, heading off to work as well. Let's go ahead now and take a look at our Whataburger Skycam or Whataburger Field. We can see a little bit hints of that sunrise beginning to happen for us, but in terms of your traffic flow on the Harbor Bridge, things are moving pretty well this morning. But just to make sure you're aware, in case you are traveling throughout any of our inland neighborhoods, we are dealing with some dense fog currently in place. Areas around Beeville, Ingleside, Corpus Christi, Robstown, Kingsville, as well as Fafuria is dealing with around less than a mile of visibility right now at this hour. So just make sure you're driving carefully, especially if you are being impacted by this dense fog. We do have a dense fog advisory also in place for inland portions and counties of the coastal bend right now, and will continue to be in place until 9 o'clock this morning. Thankfully, it will dissipate over the next few hours. Just got to wait it out on that note. About more details of what else you can expect your forecast coming up in just a bit.
Have you ever tried running a mile? 5? Try 200. I'm Michaela Chavez, your neighborhood news reporter on the South Side. One local group is showing Texas what teamwork is all about. They're getting ready to run from Gonzales to Houston in a relay race, working together to cross that finish line hand in hand.
We are going to spread the mission of inclusion for 200 miles across Texas in the Texas Independence Relay.
Michelle Jones is the founder of Wings of Texas, a nonprofit that assists individuals with disabilities and promotes inclusion.
This will be Charlie's 9th year doing the Texas Independence Relay and Captain Lori's first year.
She's also Charlie's mom.
The first year we did it, we took Charlie out as a proof of concept just to show the race director that we could do it and that we could do it safely.
Since then, the team has grown. There will be 2 captains, Charlie and Lori, and there will be 12 people helping them make their way to the finish line. They're called Angels.
We give our stronger runners the longer distances. So the longest distance that one of the Angels will be doing is a total of 20 miles, and they have 3 legs.
That angel she's talking about is Hector Llanes.
Having to run 200 miles is not something you just do every weekend.
He ran in high school and wanted to pick it back up. But he wasn't just looking for running buddies. He was looking for a family.
Seeing the Wings of Texas out in these 5Ks, 10Ks runs that they have downtown kind of inspired me and my family. So we ended up talking to Michelle and Thomas and Rusty, and they opened their arms wide and we came right in.
200 miles isn't easy, especially when there are challenges along the way.
There's actually some dirt roads. You're talking about some oil field trucks, 18-wheelers running by us with, just dirt and dust going everywhere. Just cars going by so fast at night. That and the hills. After your 15th mile, it's kind of ask for some help to go over the hills.
But the Angels I met all agree that there's no challenge that can get in the way of spreading inclusion on a whole new level.
Charlie's experiencing something that people only dream of doing, and it's because of the 12 amazing Angels that we have that are willing to go out there for 32 hours, not sleeping, not showering, just getting out there and making sure that Charlie and Lori cross that finish line.
Jones says the team will take off Friday, March 28th to head to Gonzales, and then from there the Texas Independence Relay will start on Saturday and they'll cross that finish line on Sunday. With your neighborhood news on the South Side, I'm Michaela Chavez, Chrisic Sunrise.
Hey, Michaela, thank you so much. So here's what's trending, caught on camera out of Harris County. Several cows and bulls were seen running down a busy interstate north of Houston yesterday afternoon. Several lanes were shut down but have reopened since, and crews worked to wrangle all of the animals off the road, but some were still on the loose several hours after the incident. No injuries have been reported, though, and officials say the animals likely escaped from a vehicle that broke down on the interstate. Imagine that.
They look kind of cute, though.
I know, that's what I was going to say.
Running in a pair there.
I love any type of animal. They're just so adorable. It's like, let them have their fun. I'm kidding.
I don't know if I was going to expose myself on that. I used to call cows moo-moos all the time.
Why was I just thinking that? Moo-moo cows.
Moo-moo cows.
We're just being a little immature this morning, but it's okay. Anyway, how is the weather looking for us? I know we got some good news, some rain.
Not just quite yet, though. We got another dry day ahead of us today, but we are dealing with that dense fog, mostly impacting parts that are inland. So we got to just get through some of that patchy fog and dense fog impacting some of our neighborhoods right now. Then we'll start to see some more clear skies, more sunshine by this afternoon, and then warmer temperatures towards the upper 80s or even towards the low 90s for high temperatures later on this afternoon, too. But first, we'll go ahead and take a look at our CC Sky Cam over at Snoopy's Pier. We can see a bit of a small glimpse of the sunrise starting to happen just beyond the JFK Causeway there. Temperature-wise, right now sitting at 58 degrees here in Corpus Christi, 60 over in Robstown, 62 degrees right now in Kingsville, 64 in Mathis, and 63 over in George West. So all of us sitting around the same range of those temperatures towards the upper 50s or towards the lower 60s right now. But like I noted, with those dew point values matching pretty close to where our air temperatures are currently sitting, that is what's causing this foggy situation that we're waking up to and starting our day with. So very poor visibility in place for inland portions of the coastal bend. So here in Corpus Christi, Robstown, Kingsville, all of us having a bit of an issue waking up, heading out the door with that very low visibility currently in place. So we do have a dense fog advisory right now in place that's going to be in effect until 9 o'clock this morning for inland portions and inland counties of the coastal bend. So just make sure heading out the door, you're being extra careful, giving yourself the extra time that you may need to get to your destination safely this morning. And let's go go ahead and introduce our star for today, too. We got Bo out there ready for a dog walk for today. And honestly, this is actually going to be a really beautiful day anytime that you want to go and head out to the door and get that walk on started with your furry friend. We'll be looking at things starting off at a bit of a foggy note right now throughout some neighborhoods and some clouds right now in our skies. But we do expect some sunshine start to peek on through as we start to approach the midday, and definitely by this afternoon, more of that cloud cover is going to begin to break apart, allowing for more sunshine and warmer temperatures on the way. On the front of our wind speeds, though, those are going to be on the calm, lighter side, then increasing towards around 10 to 15 miles an hour tops for this afternoon. Looking at that humidity coming in from those southeasterly winds, though, that we're experiencing today, that's going to stick around for us in the forecast throughout the majority of our work week, even increasing as we look ahead towards this weekend. But I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it today, this is all going to serve a positive purpose for us, giving us some very considerably beneficial rain chances on the way, beginning tomorrow and then continuing on towards your Thursday, expecting Thursday to be our rainiest day of this week, and then that rainfall is going to continue for us as we look ahead towards your Friday. So again, looking at very promising rain chances on the way. Rainfall estimates potentially falling anywhere between maybe 3 up to 5 or even 6 inches for rainfall total accumulations on the way. So that rainfall looks to be promising for us looking ahead on your Wednesday, continuing on towards your Friday with those scattered showers and thunderstorms. But just keeping it real and just being frank with you guys, this is going to be helpful for us with our watershed, with our drought conditions, but is it going to take away those concerns completely? No, because we would need this to happen a couple times for us to get true benefit from this rain event.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that information, Julia, and thank you folks for joining us. We'll see you later.